I'm happy to hear that someone wants to compete with me. You and Jungkook both chuckled. Your dad looked at him. You already won, Jungkook. You were intently looking at your father, but Jungkook was a little confused. Your dad smiled before looking at you. You know, son, a father always wants a man in his daughter's life who can love him more than he himself does. Even after knowing who you were, I didn't hesitate to give my daughter's hand in yours because I knew what I was doing. I knew I was giving my daughter in safe hands. He smiled softly as he already got emotional. Thank you, Dad. I will never forget your kindness. I will always protect and love your daughter no matter what. I believe in you. Will you please stop now? You guys are making me emotional. They both chuckled. Let me praise my son-in-law. I must have done something good in past life to get you and him as a family. Jungkook smiled and looked at you. Dad, I think she's getting jealous because you are giving me more attention. You looked at him unbelievably. I'm not a kid. Both Dad and Jungkook laughed. You shook your head and got up. I'm gonna make tea. Spend your father and son-in-law time. You turned around and walked away while smiling. I always had to worry about her, but not anymore. Thank you, Jungkook. Jungkook looked at him and smiled. Looks like I'm going to be your dad's favorite soon, he said, smiling and looking at you. Ha ha ha, very funny, but you know, I appreciate it. Keep dreaming. You looked out of the window while trying to control your smile. Is my dear wife getting jealous? You smiled mockingly and looked at him. It's not like some other woman trying to steal my husband. Why would I get jealous? It made him laugh. I got my answer. He looked at you trying to control your smile while he focused his eyes on the road. Your car entered inside the mansion when the security guard opened the main door, but something felt unusual to Jungkook. Everything was okay, yet he felt something odd. What happened to you, Jungkook? You asked when you noticed he was looking out from the window as if inspecting something. He looked at you and shook his head. Nothing. He again shifted his eyes to the front, looking towards the bodyguards, standing everywhere as usual. He has a doubt that someone has messed up with the security system. If there's nothing, then why are you looking tensed suddenly? And why are we still inside the car? Let's go in. He opened the door and was about to go out, but Jungkook stopped. Don't step out. You closed the door again and looked at him confused. Why? What happened? Nothing. Just don't step out of the car until I say, okay? I have to check something. Stay here. He got off the car while dialing a number. Why he suddenly started to behave like this? He watched him going towards the mansion while talking to someone on the phone. Jungkook's blood boiled. He was right when he noticed something was off. Someone not only messed up with the security system, but there's something more than that. It was not safe to bring you here, so he turned back and walked back towards the car, but a voice made him stop. You really made me wait for so long, Jungkook. Jungkook instantly recognized the voice. His jaws clenched. He turned around only to find him surrounded by the bodyguards. Those were not from his gang but his enemy, Mr. N. You have gotten a death wish. Mr. N laughed and walked near him. We will see who will get the chance to fulfill it. What a lazy and unprofessional your men were. It didn't take us much time to get rid of them. From the other side, those security guards from the entrance brought you there as they were also Mr. N's men. You looked at Jungkook. Jungkook. Jungkook took a step towards you, but Mr. N interrupted. Ah, no, step back if you really want to see her alive. Jungkook looked at him with bloody eyes. Stay away from my wife if you want to see tomorrow's sunrise. Mr. N laughed evilly. You were terrified. Instead of worrying about yourself, you have guts to threaten me. Haha. I love this attitude, John Jungkook. But sadly, it would be you and your wife who won't be able to see tomorrow's sunrise. Mr. N looked at one of his men. Hey, bring her here. He was asking for you, but when that man took a step and was about to grab your hand, Jungkook took a long step and punched on his face, making it bleed. You got terrified. He said, giving a death glare to Mr. N. Mr. N's men took out their gun and pointed towards him. He walked near Jungkook. Let's end it here, John Jungkook. He pushed you to the other side, making you fall on the ground. Ah! Your knees started to bleed. Jungkook came to you. Ryan, his blood boiled seeing you hurt. He got up and walked towards Mr. N. He punched him twice without giving him a chance to handle himself. This was the time Jungkook was waiting for because his gang came there and the war finally begins. Everywhere sounds of gun. You covered your ears. Jungkook quickly come to you and help you in getting up. You need to go inside. A man was about to attack him from back, but you quickly took out your heel and threw it on his face, which directly went inside his eye. You got afraid, but Jungkook smiled proudly and looked at you. That's my wife. Come on, go inside with Ryan. We'll clear everything from here. It didn't take much time for Jungkook's gang to defeat Mr. N's men, although he was stronger this time, but he forgot whom he's challenging. Mr. N's face got pale to see his gang destroyed in front of his eyes. Jungkook walked near him. Once a boss is always a boss. He smirked and went inside the mansion with you, while Mark took control over him. He is now going to spend his life in the prison, which was not less than hell because its boss is Jungkook. Jungkook sat beside you and put the first aid box on the table. He grabbed your hand as you looked at him. You were looking still, terrified, and your body was trembling. I still can't get the scene away from my eyes. What if today? Tears filled in your eyes. Jungkook held your hand in one and caressed your cheek with his other hand. I'm so sorry, love. I always put your life in danger, but I promise you that it will never happen again. You shook your head. I'm not worried about myself. I know that nothing can happen to me until I'm with you. You're always here to protect me, but I wish I would do the same. You looked down. I wish I could protect you too. Today I'm in front of you, all fine. Isn't it because of you? You lift up your head and looked at him confused. Because of me? Yes, today only I've realized how strong and fearless my wife is. I might have gotten injured, but you saved me. You chuckled sadly and looked down. He sat on the floor with his knees down and saw your scratched knees. I hope it doesn't leave you a scar. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt. He opened the first aid box and started to clean the blood. You were just looking at him doing his work. Jungkook? He slowly lifted up his head. You should apologize to your mom. He frowned his eyes. I know what you might be thinking, but she's your mom. If she doesn't accept me, then it's our responsibility to win her heart, to ask her for a chance to show that we're perfect for each other. You are saying this even after all that? He looked down. The way you accepted my dad as yours, he's completely relaxed because he knows that he has given his daughter in safe hands and to the person who will love her in her good and bad. Don't you think your mom deserves the same? He said, looking at him. But she's not like your dad. I know she will never be in front of her ego and power. Let's give it a try. If she doesn't, then you can do whatever you want. He looked down before exhaling. You and Jungkook both looked at each other when you saw Mrs. John. You both got up. Mom? He said slowly. His dad and sister also came inside. The whole family was present there. Jungkook got up as both father and son hugged. How are you doing, son? Jungkook smiled a little and nodded. I'm good, Dad. How about you? Was missing you, so just came. He looked at you and smiled. And how are you, Ryan? You smiled and bowed at him. I'm fine, Dad. Somi came near you and smiled. Good to see you all fine. He smiled. Then he slowly looked towards Mrs. John but looked down when found that she was already looking at you. Well, you must be wondering what we are doing here, that too uninvited. It's your house, Dad. Do you really need an invitation to come? Mr. John smiled and looked at his wife. Do you really have a reason to hate them, Jungkook? You always wanted the best for Jungkook and wanted to see him happy. Then why not liking it when he's actually happy? Yes, Mom, please accept Ryan. Believe me, she's the perfect girl for him. Just how you wanted. The only thing is she's not as rich as you, which I don't really think matters in love. She walked near you as you looked at her. She has a box in her hand. She still has a lot of flaws that I never wanted in my daughter-in-law. But I will try to give a chance. I'm still mad at the one who thought can live his life by cutting all the ties from me. Jungkook looked down. She opened her box and it has two beautiful rings inside it. You must have something special that caught my son's attention, and I want to see how well you go till the end. I'm ready to give you a chance. Your eyes got moist. She looked at Jungkook. These are not any ordinary rings. It has been our family's tradition from ages to pass these rings to our next generation. After me and your dad, now it's your chance. That's how people will recognize you as the next heir of John family. Come here and exchange these rings. Somi wiped her tears while Mr. John was smiling, feeling proud of his son and wife. She never listened him, but today she did, which was surprising but happy moment at the same time. Jungkook walked near her and looked at her before taking the box from her hand. I'm sorry, Mom. She looked away. Mom, now don't insist, please. Forgive him like you always do when he was a kid, even when he was at the fault. I still envy that. I already did, now exchange rings. Jungkook smiled a little and hugged his mother, which made her surprised, but then she patted his back as she can't stay away from him. Thank you, Mom. Somi clapped. Yay, mission successful. Now exchange the rings and we'll go for a family dinner tonight. Jungkook turned towards you and took your hand in his before sliding the rings in your finger. You did the same. I love you. You blushed.